3 months ago, I found out I might be autistic, and I realized I knew almost nothing about autism. Since then, I've been learning just about everything I can about how autism actually shows up, about how many health issues I've lived with that might be connected, and about how much I've ignored or minimized my own experience just to survive. This is part of me trying to understand what's really going on in my body and finally take it seriously. One of the biggest things that came up for me recently is something called POTS, or Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia syndrome. It's part of a group of conditions called dysautonomia, which means the automatic systems in your body, like your heart rate and blood pressure, they don't regulate the way they should. In POTS, your heart rate spikes when you stand up. In some cases, your blood pressure drops too. That's called orthostatic hypotension. What it feels like is dizziness, nausea, blurred vision, lightheadedness, and sometimes actually fainting. And the truth is, I've had episodes like this for as long as I can remember. Since I was about 13 or 14, I've dealt with waves of feeling like I might pass out, especially after standing up or during intense emotional moments. But I never told anyone, and no one seemed to notice. It wasn't dramatic enough to draw attention, and I assumed it was just some personal weakness that I had to push through. Now I'm learning that it wasn't weakness at all. It may have been my nervous system crying out for help. And I just didn't have the language for it yet. At first, my general doctor told me just to wait on testing until after my autism evaluation. So I did. But then someone I work with who understands neurodivergence told me that if I was fainting, I needed an EKG immediately. That pushed me to act. So far, I've had an EKG, an echocardiogram, which is an ultrasound of the heart, and next I'll wear a Holter monitor to track my heart rhythms for 72 hours without a shower. There was concern that I might have had mini strokes or even gone into cardiac arrest during a meltdown this past year or two. But based on the testing, my cardiologist, who is neurodivergent informed, thinks what's happening is more likely neurological and stress-induced. He told me that years of emotional suppression and masking might have overloaded my nervous system to the point of physical collapse. That was hard to hear, but it made sense. What I didn't realize until now is that a lot of these conditions are comorbid with autism. They're not caused by autism, but they show up more often in autistic people, especially those who are late diagnosed. Things like POTS, orthostatic hypotension, IBS and gut disorders, chronic nerve pain, sensory sensitivity, fatigue and dysregulation, even connective tissue disorders like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which I don't have, but it's worth knowing about. For a long time, I treated these as isolated problems. Now I see they're connected. This is how autism lives in the body when it's unrecognized and unsupported. Since I started facing this and taking it seriously, I haven't fainted once. It's been over 3 months. I'm still working with doctors. I don't have a final answer yet on anything, really. If I do have POTS, it's likely a milder form, but more than anything, I'm seeing how these health issues are tied to my nervous system, not just my heart. And that shift, understanding the connection between stress, masking, and physical symptoms, it's been a turning point for me. This isn't just about a diagnosis. It's about finally listening to my body. It's about unlearning the idea that I'm too sensitive or just anxious. It's about seeing the full picture of what neurodivergence actually means. And if any of this sounds familiar to you, if you've been dealing with symptoms that no one could ever explain, I want you to know you're not imagining it. You're not alone. You deserve to be taken seriously. I'm not a medical expert. I'm still learning as I go, but I'm becoming an expert on my own experience. And that counts for something. Every week, I learn something new. Sometimes it's from doctors. Sometimes it's from people in my life. And sometimes it's from others who are just starting this journey too. Thanks for being here while I figure it out.